For reasons not entirely known to me, I saw a movie yesterday called The Amateur, and it's interesting just how boring this movie is. It's interesting just how little it has in the way of plot twists or hidden depths of character, um, or anything of the sort. It's very by the numbers. Um, it could not possibly be more by the numbers. What you see is what you get. You know, if you've seen the preview, you know the whole movie. Um, and you even get to see a couple of the cool, uh, kills that the avenging Rami Malek, his character gets. You get to see him blow up a fancy pool, that this one, terrorist is who one of the ones who killed his wife is swimming, uh, that's suspended between two buildings, and so he blows it up, and then the guy falls through. The pool shatters and he falls, you know uh, through the shards of glass that had been holding him up to, through 20 stories, uh, to his death. Uh, and you see that in the preview. Like, you've seen the coolest moment if you've seen that moment. um, there's supposed to be some kind of underdog story. There's supposed to be some kind of, like, fish out of water story of, like, this guy who's a put upon, geek, uh, computer nerd, but nobody takes him seriously as a somebody who can really, be a man and take revenge, or avenge the murder of his wife. But then he goes and does it. By golly, so that's supposed to show that he's got, like, that there's more to him than meets the eye. But we always knew there was more to him than. If you see the preview, you know that, people, underestimate him, and, you know so there's not so that's it. You're just seeing a longer version of the preview. Most previews, by the way, these posters are not mine. I take no, credit or blame for them. um, Most previews, or let's just say a lot of previews, if it's like a thriller type of movie, then usually you would expect that you wouldn't get everything from the preview. You would expect that the preview would, show you a couple things, like maybe a spectacular, uh, portion of a scene and some intriguing lines of dialogue, and, but when you actually saw the movie, you would see how these lines were delivered, or how this scene came in the context of everything else in the story. And you would also, maybe see that there's more going on than meets the eye. uh like I said, a plot twist, or, some character who's supposed to be good revealing himself to be otherwise, or something like that. But none of that happens. It's just all, uh I mean, there's not even, like, as far as the ethics of, or, what it feels like to take revenge, or, is revenge justified, and all that kind of stuff. Like, uh none of that is really discussed, or mulled over in any kind of interesting way. So what I'm left with when I think of this movie, uh the amateur is what it's saying exactly, or what it's helping to say about the Central Intelligence Agency. Because I failed to mention so far, I think, that our hero is our hero computer nerd genius guy. He works for the CIA. He drives to the Langley building, parks his car, you know, sh- shows them the the identification on his um, lanyard. That's the word. And they let him in, and he uses his skills to help this evil, nefarious organization. Uh, Perfect their face recognition technology so that anytime you see a picture of anyone's face, you can find out who it is instantly, and just generally further the uh, the surveillance state, um, the dominion of the surveillance state. Uh, he does all of these horrifying things uh, to strengthen Big Brother, but because he's a sweet guy, because he's a nice guy, because he's sort of a put upon nerd who gets condescended to by he gets talked to by some of like there's a there he when he eats lunch in the CIA cafeteria in Langley, he sits with all the other tech nerds. So it's just like high school. And so all the cool, jocks, the ones who like really are the spies, who really go out there and know what it's like to kill a man, know what it's like to pull a trigger. And, you know, they look down on people like him, and then they talk to him exactly like he's a retard, like even though he's the opposite of a retard. He's brilliant, IQ through the roof, but he's autistic, socially awkward, sort of guy. So, they're like, "Hey, buddy, how's it going today? You doing good? That's good. Hey, during my lunch break, can you come by and look at my computer?" Uh, this one, this one jerky guy, says, "Are you free for lunch?" And he thinks that he's going to invite him to have lunch with him, and he's like, "Well, great. Maybe you can come over while I'm eating, and you could, iron out some of the bugs in my computer. Can you do that for me, man? That's so great. I really appreciate it, man. All right, see you, buddy." And yeah. So anyway, I'm not going to get into the plot of the movie at all, but I think what I found interesting about it, there's always some kind of angle when you have a major motion picture and it's featuring uh, a governmental agency, a federal agency like the FBI or the CIA. There's some angle going on. you know, they're getting movies like this get uh, the support of these organizations, but they expect something in return. They expect to get I mean, Michael Bay movies are famous or infamous for this. That where they have this some catastrophe happening, and they have to bring in the military, and the military are depicted. The American military are always depicted in a very flattering way. Um, Here it's a little more complicated. See, like there's two ways to approach uh, the CIA if you are if you're doing propaganda for this pro CIA propaganda. You can either just show them as uh, stalwart defenders of all that is good and noble and righteous, which seems to be the route that they go down uh, with that God, what is his name? It's not Jack Bauer, is it? It's that other, he was the Harrison Ford. Uh, yeah, just shout the name at me through the computer screen. I'll be able to hear you, even though I won't be able to repeat what you tell me. But those adaptations of the Clancy novels, like those, for those it seems like it's just straight ahead, like oh, the CIA are the good guys. What are you talking about? They're the good guys, um, and they're off uh, to stomp out evil across the world and restore what is good and righteous uh, uh, and virtuous. But the way this movie does it is a little different. This movie, The Amateur, uh, at first seems to be critical of the CIA because there is at least one agent, high-ranking agent, seemingly fairly high-ranking, been around for a while, total arrogant authoritarian, prick, and one of the ones who talks in this unbearably condescending manner to our hero. It's just they lay it on so thick. Oh yeah, these guys are arrogant. See how arrogant they are. See how much they're underestimating Rami Malek, uh, and he's sure going to show them. And boy, does he ever! But there's no real surprise to any of it. So anyway, um, so the what happens in the movie is there's some nefarious stuff that's being done by some uh, rogue elements in the CIA. But in the end, the director of the CIA, a woman, um, who um, who who's not like this woman is weird. Uh, she's not very personally likable. Um, and the actress who plays her seems to be modeling her after you know who. I don't even want to say her name. Cursed be her name, the unholy one. You know who I mean. You know exactly who I mean. Um, the one the one who was supposed to be our president back in 2016. Anyway, this broad, this actress who plays the top broad of the CIA, she uh, is shown ferreting out these rogue elements and say giving these press conferences to the nation under the banner of the CIA, saying we're cleaning up our act and taking we're taking these people out, and the ones who have done these things we're not going to allow this to go on any longer. Um, and I guess we're supposed to, even though her performance is not very convincing, as I said, because she seems to be very her her whole manner is just somewhat reptilian. Uh, she barely seems human, which is like maybe they're just getting us used to that, like getting us used or trying to accommodate us to having those kinds of people be the good guys. Anyway, so she takes out the arrogant agent who had given our hero, the computer nerd, turned badass assassin. She ends up kicking him out of the organization, and I think even arresting him and just cleaning house. So the message is the CIA has had rogue elements before, but now they can be trusted. So it's a different approach than just making the CIA look great through and through. This is admitting flaws, admitting that mistakes have been made, to put it in the passive tense, as they would, but that now, the buck stops here. So that's about the only interesting thing about the movie, is figuring out what kind of propaganda it is, and how it's operating as propaganda, since it obviously is. Since I mean, it looks like they actually filmed at the authentic, Langley building, at least the exterior shots. So this was done again with this film was made with the approval of the CIA. So there you go. The Amateur. Did y'all happen to see it? Um, am I missing something? If so, tell me.